Hey guys, how's it going? Malik Daniels here tonight. I'm going to be discussing Daredevil Season 2. Sadly, I'm flying solo as Miss Ashley was unable to make it tonight. But regardless, let's get right into it. Daredevil Season 2, as of this past Friday, premiered on Netflix, and millions have tuned in over the past couple of days to watch this exciting 13-episode series. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to do an episode-by-episode review because I never understand why people do that. Why do you read or watch something in which you've already watched the episode? There's no point. I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I think if you haven't watched the series, you need to for these reasons. And if you've already watched it, do you remember how badass this was? So let's just start off real quick. First off, let's talk about the tone of the second season. Sadly, there's not a lot of assets, so you just got to look at me for a little bit. But trust me, let's just have a conversation. The tone of the second season is a lot like Summer of Sam. It is this hot, dark, very, very gritty portrait of New York, and the city plays even more of a prevalent character in the series than it did in the first, which is smart because not only does it make the stakes even higher, but it also makes everything that happens throughout the episodes and with the clashing of characters all the more important because you're seeing lives at stake, you're seeing all these other things that happen simultaneously around other parts of the city that you didn't really see before. And you're also seeing Daredevil himself have to somehow learn his city and learn his way around and become stronger at the job that he seems to have taken on in the mantle. And that's right off the bat. Tone-wise, dark, gritty, much like a 70s film. I mean, you can see the grain. I mean, in some episodes, like towards episode 10, 11, it's so dark, I literally had to like turn off all the lights just to be able to still make out everything in the sewer because it was literally like watching silhouettes. On top of that, you also have the violence. I mean, the violence in this is completely upped. And when I say that, I mean like we're talking about blood, we're talking about guts, we're talking about shots to the face, we're talking about Cameron not cutting away because of course we were dealing with the introduction of the Punisher, Frank Castle, coming onto the series. As you saw in the poster, everyone was a little bit afraid about how he was going to be portrayed. Is this going to be another Thomas Jane? Are we going to end up with another Ray Stevenson? And you know what? We get something that is extremely close to the comics and extremely close to the character himself. We get a very driven and a very focused and a very gritty Frank Castle. We get a man who is broken, a man who is trying to understand his past. And you know what? It does something really smart. Much like the comics, it has small arcs to keep you interested. It's not taking something and stretching it out for the entire season, much like how we had to deal with the Kingpin in the first season, watching that kind of build up and then come to its conclusion. In this one, first 4 episodes, boom, you get Punisher right out the gate, and then you get that wrapped up a little bit, and then boom, Elektra comes in, right? And Elektra comes in, and that escalates it even more, and you get another small arc there, and then it runs into another arc where it just is interweaving, and it does so many nice things of keeping your interest, but also keeping the story going, while also creating conflict. That brings me to the other thing that makes this season all the more worthwhile watching. You are dealing with character development unlike, for me, any other series I've seen in such a short amount of time. I mean, Daredevil has a great freaking supporting cast that makes the entire series easier to watch. I mean, like the first season, what was his name? Eldon, who played Foggy. Great humor, great character, really love the friendship. For this season, you get to see him become an even better lawyer. You get to see him hold his own. You get to see him become more confident. You know, he's not dealing with the romance anymore. And that's so smart because while that partnership and that friendship breaks apart, you get to see something building up out of that, which only makes me want to follow the character even more. And of course, Deborah Ann Woll as Karen, who now has taken over the entire second season and is more like a main character than Matt Murdock. I mean, like, she literally is in every episode. She has this driving arc that not only shows that she's an extremely important part of their agency and being a lawyer's assistant, but then she becomes like a newspaper, reporter towards the end of the series, and you're literally watching that develop, and she's always moving, and she's always the emotional heart of the story, which is really, really nice. And then you have, of course, John Bernthal from Walking Dead, who's come in as Frank Castle. He moves like Mike Myers. He shakes and he rumbles like Jason Voorhees. He is like this horrifying creature when you first meet him, and he's just ruthless. And by the end, I'm not going to say whether or not you're rooting for him at all, but but let's just say that the man doesn't play around. And then of course there's Elodie Young, who comes in as Elektra, who has this beautiful voice, by the way, and she is this kind of driving force. Now, as we're getting mid-season, it gets a little bit dull. It becomes this cat and mouse game with Elektra and Daredevil, and for some people that may slow them down from tuning in, but you know what? There's this underlying story that's coming up, especially with Yakuza, The Hand, everything kind of coming up towards the top and building up towards its main conclusion, and she holds her weight all the way through, and she becomes a character that you not only end up loving and hating at the same time, but really thoroughly respecting for the choices that she makes. And this overall makes the second season, I mean, like, great. I mean, like, of course, I'm not even touching on the staircase scene, which everyone's already making memes of and doing nice artwork of. That's ridiculous. That was crazy. The Punisher's many kills. I mean, like, if there was a clip show of just the hundreds of deaths that you're watching from the Punisher, that would be an awesome thing to watch. Let's not even forget about the very awesome connections to the Marvel Universe. I mean, you've got the Roxxon Corporation that was previously an Agent Carter. You've got the you've got the connections to Jessica Jones and to previous series as well. Overall, it's something worth checking out.
You got your hot dog.
Hot dogs, yeah. What did I give? I gave this, what, 5? I gave it 5? I gave it 5 hot dogs. Because you know what? Even though it was a slow season at some points, 5 out of 5 hot dogs. Even though it was a slow season at some points, it still was thoroughly enjoyable, way better than the first, and it gave me a ridiculous action. And you know what? I love the Daredevil character more than before. You got to check it out. It's on Netflix currently. Be sure to stream it. If you get a chance, please let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe below. If you're watching this on television, you got to check out the YouTube channel for even more videos and more reviews. It's great talking with you. Have a great night.